What up, YouTube? I am your Mediocre tutorials and reviews. Back in here with one more video. Guys, this is the last time I want to go over this particular situation. However, I felt so inclined because after reviewing my previous videos, I do think that I missed some things that I wanted to highlight for you guys here today, because it wouldn't be my channel unless I felt adequate in the learnings that you got from the situation as we experienced it. You understand me? You guys are already looking at the title. You're already looking at the thumbnail, so you know exactly why you are here. So without further ado, let's get active. All right. Now, guys, thinking in and around this situation, before I get into some of the lessons learned, I wanted to quickly first go over what this kind of means for the space in the sector. Okay. Because I glossed over it in my previous reactions before, but let me just continue to set the stage. All right. The idea that for years, men have been talking about, complaining about the level and degree of pander and its impact on the opposite sex. We've been talking about it. We've been screaming about it. I know I as a content creator, I've produced multiple videos about it because I just saw it was something just so egregious that was happening. Multiple content creators in the space, multiple videos about it because it's been so egregious to the level of pander and propaganda and its impact on the space. And when I'm saying the space, I mean YouTube, but really across the country, because I know that he's big in the United States. To understand that essentially him being a wolf in sheep's clothing, and actually I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. We're going to get into that here in a quick second. But to understand that the difference between the information that he was presented versus the lifestyle that he led is truly a story of vindication for men in the space and men throughout the country. Now, there's a couple of things that you're going to see happening in the space over the next several weeks to several months. And this happens in real life too, when you chop off the head of the organization or you get rid of the general in the army or the gang, is that usually there's going to be others in the rank file order that will try to establish dominance to a degree to become a leader of the pack and lead that forward into the future. So while that all happens and works itself out, what you're also going to see is defectors from the space come into this space, okay? Because now that the wool is removed over their eyes, they understand that they had been pandered to, that we were right, and will be more inclined to listen to men. You guys already know on this channel, I make content for men, but of course I make accommodations for women as well. So of all of the new 11 women, welcome. Now, getting back to the way that Derrick Jaxn was able to be disassociated between personal life Derrick Jaxn and influencer Derrick Jaxn, I think was mind-boggling, right? Now, if you look back at both reactions that I did on him, one thing that I didn't pick up actually into the second video reaction as I was editing is the amount of times that he referred to himself in the third person. Guys, you got to understand this, and I talked about this in my second reaction video. What can happen is you create an image that earns you money, earns you revenue, and as the personality between who you are as an actual human being begins to split from who you are as an actor in this influencer space, what can happen is that can come out in your language because you no longer consider yourself that same person. You understand what I'm saying? So I missed that in my original reaction, but I wanted to be able to recall that out here today because I think it's profound the amount of times that he referred to himself, because Derrick Jaxn doesn't do this, Derrick Jaxn doesn't do that. I thought that that was magnificently interesting. So the lesson there is that, guys, as you're going out in your walks of life, and I don't care from a blue collar perspective, from a white collar perspective, there is a concept that I've talked about on the channel before, but I think it reigns true ever more now. okay? Because I'm hit with this question. Even mentees at my place of business have hit me with this particular question. And it's how much do you change yourself to conform to the culture that you need to thrive into, that you want to be successful into, okay? And I always say to them, never lose yourself. Never lose yourself completely, but you might have to chameleon yourself to a degree. All right. I threw on a program at my MBA school back into the day, and I might never forget it. It was called From the Block to the Boardroom. And really, it's talking to kids that grew up a certain way, right, on the block. And what are the things that they have to do that is not written in a textbook in order to transition themselves to the proverbial boardroom. And those things are very different, because the things that you get respect for on the block could be inherently different than the things that you have to do, the mannerisms that you have to exhibit, the words that you have to say in order to get respect in the boardroom can be really, really different. But what I tell people is never lose sight of yourself. However, you will have to get really good at being a chameleon to a degree in certain social situations, but never break who you are as a person. I think that this is an inherently important lesson. The words that I use on this YouTube channel, all right, I talk to you guys like family. I can't use some of these words when I walk into my 9-to-5 in a corporate environment. I can't use some of those words, and sometimes I will slip. Today, actually, I slipped, all right? We was in a meeting, and then someone was talking to me about something. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. That's what I said to him, and I said it, and I was like, oh, shit, he hurt me. You understand me? So, but what I should have said is something like, well, let me be honest with you. Can we be real with each other is usually as far as what I go. But I said keep it a buck, okay? So, but I say that to say, never lose sight of yourself. Bring who you are to the table. But do understand that you will have to switch and mold yourself into what is deemed as successful in certain spaces. Here's the second thing that I wanted to talk about. And really, this is kind of connected to the first thing, kind of, sort of. What I hit on in the initial reaction, all right, is that I felt sort of bad for him because he placed himself into this position where the Derrick Jaxn that we saw was so inherently different than who he is as a man, as a person, that it tormented him. It tormented him what he had created, because of the point that the oops baby happened, irrespective of him wanting to actually marry her. It would have killed his career if he didn't. Okay? So he landed himself in this tormented position where it was eating at him to the point where he no longer cared anymore. And he said that multiple times throughout his videos. He no longer cared. He didn't care about the business. He didn't care about his family. All he cared about was the time that he's been losing out on, all right, in the streets. And what's fascinating is that he was so uniquely tormented that he became a master projector, all right? Because every video that he did, this is my opinion, right, that was talking ill about men, he was really talking about himself. And I think that it was eating him up so much is what drove him to go into an effort state, right? Which probably also drove him into deep, dark depression, right? Because guys, just as we talk about the power of, being able to eat well, optimize your body, get your physical checkup, I believe you, just like getting a yearly physical, you should get some cadence of mental health checkups, right? At the point of the onset of the weird feelings, the dread, the this, the that, and there's no amount of money that can change your situation unless you seek help. Okay. He said it himself. He's in a mansion. He's got all the money that he wants. He's renting out yachts and all this stuff like this. And he was still purely and utterly tormented by the debacle that he got himself in, and being the difference between who he was as a person, who he wanted to be, and this facade that he was living. You understand me? It absolutely tormented him. So when I talk about and I push the idea of mental health, of therapy, of having a third party arbitrator to diagnose your position, what it is that you're going through. And guys, getting a professional is way different than getting a friend. right? Just because you think that you have a bunch of friends that you could talk to and bring, your friends can actually be enabling your depression, right? Because they're not giving you the insights that you need to improve yourself. I mean, it's like the difference of, listen, if you want to go learn how to play football or basketball, you're going to go to a camp of reputable people, right? Not someone who's just kind of sort of watches basketball and is going to tell you how to play basketball. No, you want to go to professional facilities with esteem, with accreditation. You could think of the mental health advocate as an analogy within that, okay? All right, so this is the next learning. I think that this one is very important, and I kind of don't feel like I should be saying this because I've said it so much throughout my channel. But let me reiterate this point. What I say at the end of 2020, I said at the end of 2020, 2021 is going to be the year of the receipts. No longer should you let charlatans lead you astray. This goes for both men and both for women, all right? What are they doing to prove to you that they have proof, that they have receipts, okay? Stop letting snake oil salesmen sell you snake oil. Stop it and be accountable for yourself. If you find yourself deep down in some shit that wasn't going to help you, that wasn't going to make you no money, because it's up on you. How dare you go to these financial services channels and they never show you how much their get-rich-quick scheme is making them money? How dare they not show you the exact undoctored, unphotoshopped numbers? Quantify how much money did you make in the last month? All right. How dare these relationship gurus not show you how deep their stable is? How proficient they stable is. How dare they? It don't make sense to me. You understand me? Because you can waste a lot of time following someone that really don't know what it is that they're talking about. All right. Just similar as you can study for a degree from an unaccredited institution or a degree that's not going to make no money. And now you wasted all that time, all that energy, paid for all them programs and all them courses. For what? You got no one to be mad at but yourself. It's not the government. It's not your parents. It's not any of that shit. It's you. So take accountability for the information and the education that you let into your life. Here's my next learning. And I mentioned this again in the prior video. Be very wary of those that use supernatural belief systems to guide their thinking. I talked about it in a way in my previous video to say feign accountability. And that's a real thing. People will use their doctrines, their mantra, their spirituality to enable bad decisions. Sometimes it's good decisions. Hopefully it's good decisions. Hopefully it's moral decisions. Hopefully it's virtuous decisions. But all you got to do is to name the pastor, Eddie Long. Name the pastor. Okay? Name the pastor. It's not saying all religions are bad or all spirituality, but just be very mindful. Be very mindful of people that use it in order to sell you a product, to make you do something that you're uncomfortable with, that use it to make you forgive them. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Folks, especially folks in the black community, gotta stop using religion as a crutch, right? Because you can believe all you want, but if you're not putting in that execution, if you're not putting in that action, if you're not putting the time and the hours in the gym, then the next man is going to outcompete you. He's going to outcompete you. He's going to do it way better than you had. All right. There's no amount of sitting down and praying that's going to get you from point A to point B. Without works, your faith is pointless. It's meaningless. It's simply dead. Your inaction will lead to way more pain in your life than action ever would. The thing is that the action is painful in the moment because the action might require you to do something. It might require accountability. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, if you do enough of it, you'll see the promised land. Last but not least, I wish that family nothing but well wishes, outside of, the impact on the space, the impact on women that follow that particular type of content. No matter that, as I said earlier, I deprioritize all of that malarkey. It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's also about whose message can be heard with the most clarity, intended for the audience that is supposed for. And he just did a fantastic job at it. And he got on the internet really, really early during the Wild West. It's the Wild West. Because what I see now is that there's going to be more dudes that actually come into the space just like me, right? Have a corporate-ish background, a little bit more fine-tuned in the way that they present things, and wicked smart, right? Way more smarter than me, way better at presenting than me. How do I know that? I see them. And when I go to work every day, there's some smart cats, and I know that they're all across the country, and they're going to start to look at digital opportunities just like this and start to come into the space and spread way more positive messages. But anyway, I'm digressing. But I wish the family well. As I said earlier, do I think it's going to be the end of him? No, I do think he'll be back, but I do think he'll probably have a spiritual or religious swing on the particular content. That might actually be the next book. But, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. I'm never going to knock someone for creating for themselves through an opportunity and understanding that there was a big need in the market, right? That's how all businesses are made. Whether those businesses are truly valuable or less valuable information to fake information, all right? Shout out to all the fortune tellers back into the day. Miss Cleo, call me now, y'all. I'm dating myself a little bit, but for the older cats in the building, you already know what it is, all right? Guys, I'm going to leave the video right here. I just wanted to quickly glance over and kind of freestyle for a little bit and kind of give my thoughts after the thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Just give a little bit more information that I think it will be impactful on the sector, and especially the dudes that watch this channel. I think that it's important throughout my life, right? The greatest lessons that I've ever learned, I've experienced, but the second greatest is lessons that other people experience. When things go wrong for other people, you can learn from that yourself. It's not like if you touch the stove that's hot yourself, but trust me, if you watch someone else burn their fingers off, you can learn a thing or two. You understand what I'm saying? Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up. Guys, I got an inner circle. I got a Patreon. There's a link down in the description box down below. If you want to get closer to your boy, that's how to find me. That's how to interact with me. That's how to interact with all of the dope, value-added people that are in the inner circle. Come up there. We'll see you soon. All right? Until next time, YouTube. Peace.